Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. MadMarine.com is where you can learn more about these guys. They carry every kind of boat you can imagine, whether you want a fishing boat, deck boat, ski boat, pontoon boat. They've got them all, depending on what your needs are, what your family needs are. They told me a long time ago down there that the number one issue isn't selling you a boat, it's selling you the right boat for you. Because if they help you find the boat that's right for you and your family, you're going to come back in 15 years when you need another boat. Madisonville Marine, they're good people down there, I promise you that. Highway 411 North in Madisonville. Go see Joe Special and the team down there. Tell them we said hi. All right, let's welcome in the next two members of our panel right over here. VFL, former Vol football player Daniel Hood, and right next to him, former Virginia Tech football player, former Virginia Tech assistant coach, Justin Hamilton. Justin, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate both of you being here. Crazy few weeks in Gainesville. I'm sure Tennessee fans, if you've heard this, you've been cackling at it. I would warn Tennessee fans and fans everywhere, though, careful, because bad things happen with this crazy system. Florida promised incoming quarterback Jaden Rashada, who was the number 27 prospect in the country. That was on your list, right? He was number 28, exactly 29. Right. He's number 27, and he was committed to Florida. They flipped him, and they flipped him by offering him an NIL deal worth $13 million total. The problem, they couldn't actually come up with the $13 million, which is key. I find that very important. You're in financial planning. I'm sure you find that if you're going to make a deal for $13 million, better have the $13 million. So anyway, the kid backs out of his commitment, asked for his release this week. Meanwhile, Billy Napier needed a quarterback. I mean, he's going to take the heat for it, and yet technically he's not allowed to really get into the nitty-gritty of how the deal was cut. So I want to start with my coaches, and then we'll get to the players' take. As former assistant coaches, the D1 level, basketball, football, imagine you're trying to build a roster where you're trying to get your quarterback, or you're trying to get your star linebacker, or you're trying to get your pass rusher, I guess would be a better example, trying to get your star point guard. You have to worry about a collective working out a deal with the guy you want, and then actually coming up with the fundage. I mean, how in the world, as a coach, do you deal with that kind of setup, Justin?
I don't know, is my honest answer. I mean, you're supposed to not be involved, but do be accountable and handle the mess that's created. And the bigger issue, I think, is there's precedence now. So not only is it Florida that's the example that we're all seeing and laughing at, but now at your own place, day to day, not even year to year, what if all of a sudden this person wants more? Yes. Not even that they were promised this and they got it, yeah. But what if they want more? Or now, whether it's $1,000 and I don't get my $1,000, then I can just leave once I've signed before I enroll. So the bigger thing for me is if you have stock in National Signing Day, sell, because it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right.
To me, I think the whole structure, and it's already started to go this way. You know, head coaches can't be coaching ball. You know, they're going to have to be the CEO of the program. You're going to have people that are coaching ball, and then you're going to have people that are dealing with the NIL stuff, that are dealing with recruiting, that are dealing with kind of like you have the strength coach and the nutritionist. Because Napier's on the hook now if they don't win games, and it's all because of the NIL money. Like, they're going to have somebody in the house that is just managing that piece of it. The other piece of it is just then how do you keep them once you got them? Like to what you're saying, it's just never ending. You're not coaching ball anymore. You're just managing expectations around money and trying to be able to put together a team that actually likes playing together and not worried about who's getting paid what.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it this year after the season when Jalen Wright kind of said, you know, hey, it's a business, I got to look around, and then all of a sudden he gets a new NIL deal, and he decides to stay. And there's nothing to say that's not going to happen before an SEC championship game someday, where somebody walks into the coach's office and says, you know what, you guys need me, I really need a new car. that Ferrari I'm driving, I really like the new Lamborghini. I need that this week or I'm not going to play, coach. And people would laugh at that happening. I'm telling you, if it's out there, it's possible that kind of nonsense could happen. Maybe not to that degree. But let me ask you all played, so we'll all discuss it that way too. But Daniel, I'll start with you. If you're a big-time recruit, let's say you're the number one defensive lineman in the country. Georgia's offering you money, Tennessee's offering you money, Alabama's offering you money, Florida's offering you money. Does this impact the way you look at Florida?
Absolutely. you're going to put them down because you don't want to sign a contract with someone that can't afford to pay it. And so if I'm a recruit, which, in a locker room, you're going to have some guys that came from very wealthy families. You got some that come from very poor. Most likely, my chance of making it to the NFL is less than 5%. And so I need to get my money now. I need to make the decision for my family now. And if something happens and my family's going to be on the hook, I'm going to go to somewhere where it's guaranteed.
Well, and you also, and there's talk that whether or not he could sue Florida. Now that popped up in your head too, because or sue the collective.
And that was my thought is, your contract, you got 3 elements of it, and each one of those were met with it, and now they're not coming through. There's going to be some attorneys out there that'll take these cases on a contingency and go after them. And now you're talking about, a kid could be playing at Georgia and also suing Florida at the same time.
So that'll be the next thing. It'll be ads for, have you been at Camp Lejeune? Have you got mesothelioma? Has your collective not paid you? Call me. Your thoughts as players, how much would you consider? I mean, let's turn around. If you're recruiting, you're not the head coach having to deal with. You're an assistant who's having to go into living rooms and answer questions about, oh, wait a second, you're telling me I need to talk to the collective. Your collective just, messed up. I almost said something bad. Just messed up. Why should I talk to your collective? How do you spin that?
I think you have to spin it as your loved one, your young man, is a student athlete. He's not an employee, because that's what the NCAA
and then they show you the
tells us.
door.
So they're all equal. It's all equal. You're a student athlete. We care about your education. This is just banana land. There, as an assistant coach, as a head coach, there's, like Mark said, there's no way that you can manage all of these things, put together a plan, recruit the players on your roster, recruit other players without inevitably things blowing up. There's landmines everywhere.
Well, the thing I was going to add to it is you're going to have to operate an NFL model to where you've got someone in charge of bringing in players, and you're going to have the funny scenario like the Denver head coach that was fired, and he's like, how do I get Russell Wilson to play when the man makes over $1 million per bathroom in his home? He's like, I can't get him to do anything.
Yeah.
And so the roster decisions aren't really on the head coach there. And so you're going to have that happen, and the coach is just going to be like, that's who you gave me. I did what I could.
Well, and I also, the other side, because eventually they are going to be pros, those that make it, and they're going to have to play despite having the money. And that's where the coach can come in and try to recruit the right kids and the right family of, look, pay him what he's worth, but I want to spend the money on the kid that's not going to be affected as much, which is really hard to figure out, not going to be affected by the money on campus or the money that they're getting or the females or whatever it is. Yeah. That's the hard part in recruiting. We can see in the gyms, in my case, who's good and who's not. But how do they handle success? Whether that's money, points, females, notoriety, that's what you're trying to figure out as a coach recruiting. The money is just the latest thing that they got to figure out how they're going to handle it.
For a while, the last couple of years, I've talked on the show about Florida being overrated as a program. Everybody looks at it and, oh, but they've got everything going for it. They haven't won a title since 2008, 15 years. They are running through coaches at a Tennessee pace. Literally, they've fired as many coaches in the last 15 years as you have, and that's a lot. Their fan base now has that kind of bloodlust that, oh, we lost a game? Fire him. Now you look at this. Tennessee used to be the school that had the big black eye nationally for everything. Something would fall out of the sky, and you would say, only at Tennessee. Now it's Florida. I'm telling you. They better clean their act up. They are on the Tennessee boat. And Tennessee, hopefully, is getting out of that wake zone. They've escaped, and Florida's falling into it, because this is the kind of thing that 10 years ago we'd have been saying, oh, only Tennessee. Now it's Florida. So as a Tennessee fan, enjoy that. Mark, thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. We'll see you next Sunday. When we come back, we've got a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about Josh Heupel as a quarterback coach, or is he a great quarterback coach, or does he just have a great offense? That'll be an interesting discussion. And also, coming up next, I want to talk about this NIL thing. There's a defensive coordinator opening at Alabama, and there's some people that say Nick Saban should hire Jeremy Pruitt. Well, how does the NCAA punish a guy for something that's now legal? We'll discuss that next, coming back on the Sports Source.